What do you understand by invest criteria? So invest criteria is actually our topic of discussion today. So let's dive into the details. So with invest criteria, it is actually the summary or is an acronym that characterizes good user stories. So with the invest criteria, we're going to start with each and every one of the letters. So the I stands for independent. Each and every user story needs to be independent of one another. What does this mean? This means that if, for instance, the team members commit to work for a sprint, they commit to a couple of user stories for a sprint, each of those user stories shouldn't depend on another one. So the fact that I'm getting this one done, it shouldn't be dependent on, okay, the next one doesn't have to wait until I get this one done before it can continue. However, there are situations where we encounter user stories that have dependency. But the goal here is we want to work together collaboratively to ensure that we are mitigating this issue and that we are getting the work done efficiently and effectively. So that is what I means, which is independent. Now we're going to move into the next letter, which is N. N is negotiable. In an agile environment, there's one thing that we don't negotiate, and that is quality. But when it comes to user stories that the team members commit to, it becomes negotiable, especially when there's new requirement that comes in from stakeholders. Maybe mid-sprint, early sprint, later during the sprint. So when new requirements comes, remember, one of the reasons why most organizations are transitioning into Agile is because the customers have the luxury of making changes throughout the sprint. Now, when customers come or stakeholders, when they come in with new requirement during an ongoing sprint, they should be able to communicate the priority of that, and provided it is of high priority, what will happen at this point is, so the amount of work that the team committed to for the sprint, part of it will be swapped with the incoming one that is communicated to be of high priority. And the reason is simple. With a team having a fixed capacity, there's really no data to prove that they can go beyond that or they can deliver more than their capacity. Because what they'll end up with is they will end up committing to so many user stories that they won't be able to deliver. And that is not what we are looking for. We are looking for quality. We are looking for efficiency. We are looking to balance load and capacity. So whatever new user story that is going to come into the sprint, doing an ongoing sprint communicated by stakeholders, what will happen is that will actually be negotiated for the team to, remove an equal amount of work from the ongoing sprint and then bring in. So they're actually going to swap it with the new work that is coming. Again, equal amount. That way, the team understands that, yes, they are still within capacity, so they can actually deliver that. So that is what negotiable means. So the next letter that we are going to be talking about is the V. The V stands for valuable. Each and every user story should be able to deliver value at the end of the sprint. So one of the reasons why we work together as a team in the first place is because we are customer-centric. And being customer-centric, we are value-driven. We want to be able to satisfy the customer at every given point in time. If it's not value-driven, then there's really no point for the team to commit to it. Because the reasons why the team commits to work for this different period of time called sprint, the time box period called sprint, is because we are focused on priority. We are focused on what makes most sense to the customers. Now, we're going to move into the next letter, which is E. E stands for estimable. With estimable, the team should be able to estimate the work. They should be able to take in just enough that they can commit to. In an agile environment, we do use planning poker for the team to be able to estimate their work. And I'm going to talk about this estimation in two phases. I'll talk about it, velocity-wise, capacity-wise. So when it comes to story pointing the work, the team members will have conversation on each and every user story to ensure that they have enough information that they can, effectively and efficiently get the work done. With estimation, they are assigning story points. That number communicates the effort, the risk, the volume of the work, the complexity that is involved for that particular work to be completed. So the team members will ask questions to product owner as much as they have, and then product owner provide clarity around the user story that they'll be having conversation on. And then at the end of it all, the team will be able to go into that estimation exercise. One thing about estimation exercises, this is actually where the team have this conversation, so after going into this activity, at the end of it all, they'll have conversation. And this is actually where, they tend to influence one another through the conversation, not through the estimation, because the estimation is not supposed to influence, the rest of the team members. Each and everyone needs to go in and vote what they think is right. But when it comes to the conversation, this is actually when you hear people who actually have skills, who have actually done those particular user story or that particular user story, will be able to come up and, talk about their experience. And then we can leverage from their experience moving forward. However, things will automatically change, in the future, provided if they committed to that user story and they realize that, okay, it actually took more effort for that work to be completed. Next sprint, now they have data. Agile is based on empiricism. We make decisions based on facts. So looking at the data, now the team will realize that, yes, we've done this before. If this same work, appears again in the future, so they will make decisions based on, what they've been able to achieve and what effort it actually took them to get the work done. Another thing about being estimable is we focus on, the capacity and velocity of the team. So sometimes within a sprint, let's say for a couple of sprint, 1, 2, 3 sprint, the team is able to deliver 20 story points. For instance, if they're able to deliver a 20 story point, what you want to do is the team should be able to get an average of what they can commit to future sprint. So at that point, you kind of have some level of predictability. So it helps the team not to commit to so much work that they will not be able to deliver on. That is what estimable is all about, or the E. So now moving on to the next letter, which is the S. S stands for small. So small means that each and every user story should be small enough, should be broken down into smaller chunks in such a way that it can be completed within a given sprint. The goal is we don't want spillover stories. We don't want stories that, roll over to another sprint. So the team should have conversation and break down work in smaller chunks, smaller bits, in a way that they can actually get accomplished or completed within a particular sprint. Should be small enough. And the last letter, which is the T, stands for testable. With testable, this means that if at all the team say that, okay, this work is completed, it should be able to go through the different test stages and pass it all. So throughout the sprint, once the team are gradually getting work done, they shouldn't wait until everything is done overall before they communicate that to the product owner, or before they put that in the product owner's queue. Because one thing about testing is the product owner understands the customers better. They are the voice of the customer. They liaise with the customers, so they are the better position to tell the team if that work actually meets the definition of done or if it doesn't. So the advice I have here is always ensure that within your team you kind of have that internal review where each and every user stories that gets completed gradually throughout the sprint is passed to the product owner so that he can review and make validation whether it meets the definition of done or not. That way, if it doesn't, yes, the team can they can start working on it again, or they can continue working on it before the end of the sprint. So we don't have to wait till the end of the sprint before we are communicating whatever it is that we are done with. So whatever it is that we need to do, so being proactive is the goal here. It's very important for the product owner to internally review the work once the team member is done before it can actually be demoed to stakeholders. So now that is what the invest criteria means. And please let us know if this was helpful for you, because this is actually asked during interviews sometimes. Now, if this is your first time, you're definitely welcome. This is an Agile platform where we'll discuss everything Agile. It's a platform for us to learn from one another. And please go ahead and support us by subscribing, like, share, comment, and don't forget to activate the notification bell so that whenever we upload new content, you will not miss out on it. And to our returning viewers and subscribers, we love you. You've been amazing. You're very supportive. We thank you. We appreciate you. Please continue motivating us. by liking, sharing, and commenting. Thank you so very much. And please stay tuned for our next content, and we hope to see you next.